Afternoon, folks. Multiple outlets are reporting that Tulsi Gabbard, the former director of national intelligence under Mr. Trump, who left a few weeks ago to attend to her husband, who has a very serious cancer diagnosis of a very rare form, that a member of her family has gotten in trouble for something that we talk about in this site and get accused of in this site. And that is her brother, who apparently has some mental issues, was arrested by police on suspicion of attempting to lure children, boys and girls, I believe, into his hotel room with the promise of money and candy. Apparently, he's met some people, some young boys at a pool where he was staying, poolside near a hotel, and asked the children their names, chatted them up a bit, wrote the names down in a little notebook, which is unusual, to say the least, even for people who are predators. But there's some indication that Mr. Gabbard is got some mental problems, and the family has appealed for privacy and for attention to this disorder of their family member. And I can completely understand that. I've talked about people who have addictions and mental illness, who have been or who are intellectually disabled, who are routinely scooped up by cops, who are not given much of a break. Here in Virginia, they've made some overtures to try to change that and have some mitigating understanding for the fact that impulse control, psychological abilities to regulate, the ability to know right from wrong, or to understand that there are social mores that are okay and those that are not okay. These are things that are very, very different and difficult for the autistic and the intellectually disabled, the people who are suffering from various forms of dementia and others to deal with. And we really owe them some respect. But of course, cops and prosecutors and judges who are former prosecutors particularly love hammering these guys. Right? After all, it bumps up the statistics. It makes it look like they're doing a bang-up job. So I'm all for the people in Tulsi Gabbard's orbit to also consider the mental ramifications of this brother, who I know nothing about. The point I'm about to raise, however, is, isn't it interesting that it is always, always, always these people in power, mostly on the right, because anybody who is beating the drum the loudest about the pedophiles and the perverts and the predators have it in their own orbit to the nth degree. Or they refuse to look into the mirror, I guess, lest the mirror break, or lest they can't see their reflection, or whatever the case may be. It is amazing, though. I just wish these same people who go after people like me, people like Citizens Against Government Entrapment, who work with vigilantes and snoops and snitches of weak-minded people who don't understand anything around them, and who are happy to be given just a little bit of attention and a little bit of street cred as great catchers. Not of, people, shoplifting or ripping people off with cars, or God forbid, the very people they align with who are ripping us off to the tens of billions of dollars and millions upon millions of dollars in crypto schemes, in money laundering schemes, in effectively white collar schemes. They're not doing anything about that, which is a much bigger problem. No, they're going after the easy situation. People who might prey on children, because it's a win for everybody. You look like you care about children. You look like you're defending the weak and the innocent and the downtrodden and everything, while you're treading on people who are not the ones who are most likely to go after these people. Okay? We've talked about most of this sort of sexual abuse of children occurs in homes, in community centers, in trusted environments with people they already know. Not somebody hiding in a bush down the block, although that gets a lot of traction, or the people online, which gets even more. No, it's people who have emblems of power, the ability to hide behind their badges, their robes, and their emblems of office. It happens with people who are, psychologists and pastors and scout leaders and teachers, yes, and others too. That's where you get it. And if you get lots and lots of these, where you hear lots and lots of this particular person, which was not in my case and not in many others, then you can argue, there's smoke, there's fire. But why aren't you looking at the smoke, particularly when it comes from people in these high offices? Because, we have a president of the United States, as I pointed out, who has multiple felonies, multiple convictions, and no restrictions. And you might say, well, he was president. Well, he was not president for 4 years. Where were the restrictions? Not many, like none. And I remember all the hubbub about when, he was indicted for in the 4 different jurisdictions where he made 3 of them go away, right? Because he was wealthy and powerful. He became president. He made them all go away. But there was all this hubbub about, will he be fingerprinted? Will he be arrested? I wonder. And this went on for weeks and weeks and weeks. And I would shake my head and say, he's not going to be arrested. He's not going to be fingerprinted. He's not going to be held. He's not going to be put in a jail. And they were talking about it. If they put him in jail, where would they put him? They put him in a separate place over here. How about over here? What are they going to do with the Secret Service? All for naught, because they never were going to do that to begin with. And that's my point. So as much as I want Mr. Gabbard to get every bit of fairness, and if he's mentally ill, he should be treated immediately, I want to remind those same people in that orbit who would come after the people who don't have any power, don't have any authority, don't have any pretext, don't have any benefactors, don't have any wealthy lawyers that they have on retainer, that they're supposed to protect those people like me, people like on the proactive stings, people who are intellectually disabled, the average and ordinary. Those people deserve protections as well. Those people deserve to have something as well. And I don't know what they're doing with Mr. Gabbard, but he's probably not lying on the stone slab in intake with 16 other people, as many of us were. Right? Just saying. And let's not forget about Ghislaine Maxwell, who got a nice visit over 2 days from the Deputy Attorney General, who's trying to claim that that's perfectly normal and natural, right? This is what we do for people, right? First of all, you don't send a high official like that unless somebody is ordering it to happen, or you're trying to curry favor with somebody much higher up who could do something for you. Who could that be? You don't do that. And you don't violate the law by putting them in a special club-fed type prison, which is always, under prison rules, Bureau of Prison Rules, supposed to be reserved for so that you get a break. Unless you know somebody, of course, and then the rules don't matter, right? I mean, again, many of us had 1 or 2 little convictions, and many of us can argue on the proactive stings that we didn't do anything. And some of us, like myself, happy to share all the evidence, and we get hammered. Ghislaine Maxwell has multiple victims coming forward, pointing their finger at her. And they're all not corroborating one person. They all have their own separate stories that they're telling. So again, I want some grace for this man, Mr. Gabbard. But what about the rest of us? What about us? Because if he's going to get special treatment, the rest of us need to get the same fair, honorable treatment, particularly those who are autistic, intellectually disabled, demented, addicted, who have drinking problems, compulsions of various sorts, drug problems. They need to get it as well.